Okay, so let's talk about FL Studio and the very basics. I'm not going to spend a ton of time getting into all of these buttons and everything that it does and all of that, right? As we produce a song, we're going to, stumble across some of those. We're not going to cover, in this course, we're probably not going to cover 80, we'll probably cover 20% of what the tool can actually do. I mean, it's incredible how much flexibility it has and how deep it goes. But we're not going to go that deep. I just want to talk about the very basics. So number one, there are three main tools that you want to keep in mind for FL Studio that you're going to use interchangeably, I guess is a good way to put it. So there is the playlist, which is here. This shows you your entire song view. Each track will, the way I work is I like to have each track have a different instrument. And that's the way I'm going to teach this course. There are other producers that have, different ways that they like to do things, but that's how I like to do it. So think of it as the entire song. You can slide this to, zoom in or zoom out up here. But think of this as the entire song, like a view of the entire song. That's your playlist. There is if you go up here, there's a few buttons. This one right here is your channel rack. I call it the instrument rack. It technically is a channel rack. This is where you would load your individual instruments. I'll load one real quick just to show you what that looks like. So you would hit the button. You would choose an instrument. Let's say, you know what? I'm going to go to more plugins. This up at the top. This lists every plugin that you have, every instrument plugin that you have. So let's say we were choosing, I don't know, we'll go with Arcade. And it's taking its time. I probably should have picked a different instrument because this takes a little bit to load, especially because I'm on a slow internet connection. I'm in a hotel right now, if you can't tell. So that's what's taking so long. But anyway, here's Arcade. We'll probably use it in our project, but it's now loaded into the, here. And then this is where you would actually choose what mixer channel it goes into. And to access your mixer view, you go right up here. You can see the picture of two little faders. And there we go. And then there's your mixer. So we've got the mixer. It's just like a traditional one you would see in a big studio, right? Every channel has its faders, and we'll get more into what the mixer does in a little bit. But there's the mixer. There's the channel rack, or instrument rack as I call it. And, if you hear me say instrument rack, I mean channel rack. I'm just calling it the wrong thing probably, but instrument rack, channel rack. And then there is your playlist, which is your song view. Those are the three main views and windows that you're going to be using in FL Studio. I hope I've made it clear on what each one does. And then there are patterns. So patterns are things that you drag into your playlist view, where you might have an instrument. So let's choose an instrument. We'll choose this. We'll say kick, right? Okay, so we're going to put a kick pattern in. There's two ways you can do that. You could put it in by clicking these buttons, right? Puts in we're at one. Oh, this is your tempo. I should probably go over the play bar. You could do it that way, or you can right click. I use this more often. I normally don't even use the buttons. I use the piano roll. And you could put it in this way as well, to put in your drum pattern or whatever instrument you have. But real quick, let's talk about, and if you need to rename your pattern, so we're going to call this kick, you right click, click rename and color. You can use color as well if you want to. Let's say you wanted to make all the drums red. You could choose a red color there, and then you could accept, and then you could name it here kick. I normally don't get into color coding because I find that it takes more time to organize everything that it does. That half of your project time is spent organizing. You can use templates to shorten that time, but the benefits of having things color coded just isn't there for me. I stay organized anyway, but you may choose to use colors. All right, so there's your kick pattern. Let's go over this top part right here real quick. Well, I can't zoom in. All right, so, squint, get close to the screen if you need to. There's a couple of things right here. So this is your volume knob, main volume. I leave it at 100. Well, actually, I don't always leave it at 100. When I'm working, I normally turn it down because just to give your ears a rest, right? You're going to find that if you're producing a beat, you may be at it for hours and you get something called ear fatigue. It's just not good for your long-term hearing. So I would actually recommend turning this down as you start your production. And then, if you want to enjoy the beat, that's when you turn it up. But whenever you want to mix it or create, I would have it down a little bit. It just helps. So you can switch from pattern mode to song mode right here. Meaning, let's say I'm on. Well, let me put in another pattern real quick. Let's say this is pattern 2 is fine. Just for our demo. Okay, so if you're in pattern mode, it will play the pattern. So, it's playing pattern 2. Here we go. It's playing pattern 1 right now. And it's playing it for as long as it's extended. So it's playing it all the way out to here. If I chose pattern 2, it's silent because we don't have anything in pattern 2. But if I switch it to song mode right here, it's playing pattern 1, or playing, kick. And then it's going to continue to play all the way through because it's playing the entire song, which is the extent of your playlist here. I hope that makes sense. I work mostly in song mode, but if you really wanted to focus on just a pattern, you could switch it to pattern mode. And that's your play mode. Stop record. This is to record, if you're recording vocals or you want to record, you're playing on a MIDI controller. That's where you would do this. The default is it gives you a metronome intro, I believe. Let's see. So let's say we're recording something. I think you have to be I think you need an instrument chosen and you need to be in a piano roll. There we go. And now I could record. I don't have my MIDI controller on me, but that's where you would play there. And then you can stop. And then this is your tempo. So if you can adjust it up or down just by left clicking. And you can fine tune it with these numbers right here. You could actually, use that first number, second number, or third number. Like whichever number you're hovering over is the one that's adjusting. So you can get really granular with that. Most of my tempos are even zeros, after the decimal point. But if you wanted to play with that, you can. All right. So that's the basics of how it works, the 3 main tools that you use. The next thing I want to focus on is file management. So over here on the left, you can see all the files that you have access to. And the way you can adjust this is you go to Options, you can go to File Settings, and this is where you add any additional sounds that you want that don't come with FL Studio. You can see I've already have this one in. Actually, a Drive E I don't have anymore, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete those while I'm get something done. Just click and cut there. Here, I don't know why I have this broken out. I'm going to cut this. Cut that. Cut this. Okay. So actually, this is all I need is F. This is my external drive. So what you can do is you can click this little window. And this is if you're on a Windows machine. If you're on a Mac, I'm sorry, I don't have a Mac. But what you can do is go to, in the left panel, you should have a list of all your drives here. This PC, under this PC. And this Toshiba external F drive is what I use all the time. So you can select the folder, and then that's going to add it. And you can see I've already have it chosen here. And what that does is it allows you to go into your F drive here and access any files on your F drive. That's the easy way to do it. If you have some external files, some external sounds, and I put a little hashtag to put the ones that I need the most at the top. So, it's alphabetical order, right? It sorts by alphabetical order. That's how you can add new files. Okay. One more thing I want to mention is, audio settings. So let's do audio settings real quick. So go to Options, Audio Settings. And click down here. It should default to FL Studio ASIO, which is what you would need. If you have bought a Scarlett Write will probably have its own ASIO, and you'll need to be on that to record your vocals, just so you know. And then it would come through the headphones that are plugged into that Scarlett Write audio interface. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to the video on what to buy hardware-wise, like setting up your home studio, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But one thing I do want to mention is buffering. So right here, buffer length, go ahead and set that as high as it will go. And what that does is it prevents, you can load a lot more plugins, have a lot more effects going before it starts getting this weird, crackly, delayed sound that we may encounter when we put this beat together. But go ahead and set that. It's gonna save you in the end. Oh, speaking of save you in the end, Control S. This is our first keyboard shortcut, Control S. So what Control S does, I'll do it real quick. And I think if you look right here, it'll show it. Let's see. Oh, well, I haven't saved this yet, right? So this is where you would name and save. But Control S is what saves it. It has an autosave feature that you can... Let's see if I can find it. Might be in general settings. It might be in file settings. Let's try file settings. Autosave. Here we go. Have this set to, so this is in file settings, have this set to very frequently, every minute, and before risky operations. That way it will autosave a lot more often. So if you put in hours of work and, and something crashes, which happens, right? Having that autosave set to very frequently will save you in the end. So, at the most, you're going to lose 1 minute of work. To access the autosave files, let's see if I can remember. I haven't had to do this in a while. Accessing the autosave files. Maybe we'll go over that in a future video. I don't want to waste your time looking to do that. All right, so those are the FL Studio basics. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, reach out in the P4A channel, the Producers for Artists private channel on Facebook. If some of this didn't make any sense or if you need a little help, and we'll see what we can do for you. Thanks.